As we all know, corruption continues to be a huge problem in politics. So is the revolving door of politics. And Joe Biden, in one of his first moves after taking office, reinstated an ethics order invoking a lobbying ban for political appointees that Trump, by the way, had rescinded on his last day. So let me tell you what the update is, what Biden did, and then I'll tell you what Trump did before he left office. So President Biden signed an executive order that requires all political appointees to sign an ethics pledge. The order says that appointees leaving government to lobby are banned for 2 years, should be permanently, from lobbying any covered executive branch official or lobby for any foreign government. It also addressed the so-called golden parachute issue. So that bans officials from accepting any salary or other cash payment from a former employer. So a good way to, explain this by providing an example is, Mark Esper. Mark Esper worked for Trump and of course was part of the national security apparatus. But the guy was appointed by Trump while he was working for a major defense contractor. I believe Raytheon. Don't quote me on that. Brett, please fact check that for me if you can. But I do know it's a major defense contractor. I bring that up because he was being paid in stock options. So if you're a person in a position of power within the Trump administration or within any administration, are you gonna make the right decisions regarding national security and foreign policy? Or are you gonna make the types of decisions that help financially enrich defense contractors, particularly ones that you're looking to cash out from? And it was Raytheon. I just want to note that was fact checked. Thank you, Brett. So this is a huge problem. And so I'm glad that Biden signed this through an executive order, but it doesn't have the teeth that I'd like to see. I'd like it to go further because this type of conflict of interest really does corrupt our politicians and the decisions that they make. But before Trump left office, what he did do was rescind his own executive order that was meant to ban political appointees from lobbying after, leaving government. Shortly after 1 p.m. on Wednesday, the White House issued notice of the revocation of Trump's January 2017 executive order without offering any explanation for the move. I think we know why. Among other things, it banned administration officials from lobbying the agencies where they worked for a full 5 years. So it was actually more robust than what Biden just signed, but it doesn't matter, he rescinded it after the termination of their employment. So Woz, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
What I will say is that two of the most bipartisan things that actually exist is one, militarism, imperialism, both sides of the aisle, as far as the power centers, the establishment of Republican and Democratic parties, they're universal military hawks. They want to kill people abroad. They love it. That's just bipartisan. And the other thing that's bipartisan is this concept of the revolving door. I would encourage you guys to go look up a guy named Timothy Geithner, who was Savior Jesus, sweet baby Jesus, Barack Obama's Treasury Secretary. Google how much money, it's going to astound you how much money JP Morgan Chase gave the hedge fund that he started after he left Treasury. Literally the job connected to policy for these fools. And tell me, this isn't the most corrupt system that we could possibly have, right? And so I'm not surprised by this, but I'm also not gonna, do any pearl clutching, because this is universal on both sides. They both love the revolving door. Just look at some of Biden's cabinet picks. I mean, some of those guys just came from either lobbying or working in the private sector of, ostensibly what that cabinet position would oversee, right? And so even when it's not lobbying in and of itself, they're just doing the most blatant corruption you'll ever see, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're right that this is a bipartisan thing. Both Democrats and Republicans engage in that revolving door. And the example that I've been giving a lot lately, because it really does speak to the issues that I have with the revolving doors. Like Janet Yellen who's gonna be the Treasury Secretary, who's been described as progressive, made $7.2 million giving Wall Street speeches over the last, is it 10 years? No. Is it 5 years? No. Over the last 2 years, guys, $7.2 million over the last 2 years. This is gonna be Biden's Treasury Secretary. That is a problem. That is a problem. And even if, and I don't believe this to be true, but even if Janet Yellen was this incredible angelic creature who can somehow avoid allowing that money to, have an impact on the decisions that she makes, it still gives the impression of a conflict of interest. And that should not be the case in a government that is supposed to be by the people, for the people. It is a problem. It's a problem. And the response from Yellen has been, well, for any Wall Street firm that I gave a speech to over the last year, I will seek an ethical approval if I have to make any decisions that pertain to that. What? It's
she needs a permission slip, a hall pass.
It's so embarrassing.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. The swamp is alive and well, people.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.